ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। श्लोक नंबर 26, सेकंड चैप्टर। अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतम् तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। In this Naivam, in the 26th shloka, last part, Nainam or Naivam? Naivam. So Bhagavan had told that Arjuna, Panditaha na anushocanti, ashocyan anvashochahatvam. You are grieving after something that really does not deserve any grief. And you are talking like a wise person, but really you are not a wise person, because wise people do not grieve. And Bhagavan gave the wisdom of Atma, wisdom about Atma, Atmajnanam, by revealing the nature of Atma, which is Nityaha, Satyaha, Ekaha, Akarta, Abhokta, Avikaraha, Sarvagataha. And if one understands and assimilates this understanding that I, Atma, am Nirvikaraha, therefore Akarta, Abhokta, Satyaha, Nityaha, then there is no basis for sorrow. When I see myself to be Atma, which is of this nature, and I see everybody to be Atma of the same nature, then there is no scope for sorrow. But it becomes very difficult for some people to accept that I, Atma, am of this nature. This nature means Nityaha, Satyaha. And Bhagavan is now coming down. Bhagavan is interested in helping Arjuna get out of sorrow, at least for the time being, at least from some angle, so that Arjuna has got some more objectivity. And therefore, Bhagavan said, even if Arjuna, you take Atma to be born again and again, Nitya Jatam, Nityam va manyase Vrutam. It is born again and dying again. Like the Kshanika Vigdanavadi accept, or even Charavaka say Atma is born and it will die. So many places, many Atmas are born and they are dying. That is how Charavaka think. And you also think like this. Then also, Naivam Shojitu Marhasi. Then also there is no basis for sorrow. Why? Because that which is subject to be born is born, and that which is subject to die is die. Therefore, there is no basis for sorrow. And another reason Bhagavan gave is Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu. Arjuna, this is a fact that anything which is born will be gone. जो आएगा सो जाएगा. हिंदी जैसे जो आएगा सो जाएगा. That which has come will go. Jatasya mrityum dhruvaha. Mrityuhu dhruvaha. Dhruva means definite. And that we have seen, Pratyaksha, we have seen that things have come and things go away. And Anumana also we can say that this thing is anityaha. Why? It is born. This body is anityaha, temporary. Why? Because it is born. Like what? A pot. A pot is born and it is anitya, we know. Anitya means temporary. Similarly, this body is born, so it will be gone. But here Shastra comes into the picture and says, Dhruvam Janma Mritasya cha. That which is gone again will be born. Mritasya Janma api Dhruvam. That which is dead will be having birth again. It will come in another form, another way. And therefore, but that which is born will be gone, and that which is gone again will be born. And this is a fact about Atma. If you are accepting that Atma to be Anitya, then this is a fact that it will be born, therefore it will be gone. And it is gone, again it will be born. And it is a fact. And fact is to be handled only by one way, and that is acceptance. Fact is to be accepted. There is no other way. Why? Because you cannot change the fact. You can do something upon the fact, but you cannot change the fact that has already taken place. As we saw in the last class, somebody is dead. So he is dead. The dead cannot be made undead. Or somebody shouted at me. That he or she shouted at me, that fact cannot be changed. I can shout back, that is there in my hand. Or I can behave in such a manner that in future that person doesn't shout at me. That is there a choice in my hand. I conduct myself in such a way that person doesn't have to shout. He doesn't like me to advise. You know, some people, they don't like to be advised. Don't advise. Because if you advise, that person will shout. One lady was telling me someplace. He said, Swamiji, I have a problem with my husband. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I am a lecturer. Professor. I said, you do the same thing at home also? Do you lecture to your husband also and keep on advising? Swamiji, I do that. I said, that is one of the reasons. He said, yeah, Swamiji, he doesn't like me to to advise him. So you don't advise. The husbands especially, they don't like to be advised. So better stop advising them. You advise once, or many maximum 3 times. I have to give some discount. So otherwise, how life would be if we don't advise, then what will we talk? So so something we have to do it. But maximum 3 times you tell. And afterwards, you just pray for that person. Anyway, so I have that much choice that somebody shouted at me and I behave in such a way that next time shouting is not there. That also not fully in my hand. If I stop talking to that person, then also will shout. Why are you not talking? What I have done to you? So that also is possible. But at least you can hope that duration will increase, etc. So here we do not have a choice with reference to the fact. That person shouted, it's a fact. I was born to a particular parent's fact. I was born on a particular day, Ashtami day. It is not considered good by some people. So I was born on that day. That's how I was born. Rahu Kalam I was born, suppose. Born. I cannot make this fact changed. So Bhagavan is telling, apariharye arte natvam shochitum arhasi. With regards to choiceless situation, Arjuna, you need not grieve. By this, what is the message conveyed is choiceless situation. Apariharya artha can be expressed by the word choiceless situation. With regard to choiceless situation, if you have proper attitude, proper way of handling, then sorrow will not be there. As we saw in the last class, this is not an advice. Arjuna, you should not be sad. Now onwards, you should not be sad. This advice has no use because nobody wants to be sad, and no person doesn't have a choice also. If I ask you now for 5 minutes, all of you be sad. Okay, let us have sad session. My name is Sad Atmananda, so so let us have sad. All of you become sad Atma. Hello, for 5 minutes. Can you do that? No. In fact, see, my telling you makes you laugh. Whatever sadness you had went away. At least for the time being. So there is no advice. Pujya Swamiji was very particular. He said, don't give such advice. Irritating advice or saddening advice. If somebody is already sad and you tell him, don't be sad. And especially one elderly person is telling, Guruji is telling, don't be sad. Now the Shishya, he has got double sadness, secondary infection. He is already sad and he cannot be out of sadness because it is not your choice. Therefore he will be sad that he is sad. I am already sad and I have another sadness that I am not able to oblige my Guru. Therefore there is no advice. It is the giving this what is called the vision by which you will be able to see the situation in a right perspective so that sadness will go away. Like this, the butterfly and all, no, we cannot force them to come. But if we grow plants, butterfly will come. Similarly, if we develop our mind with proper attitude, sadness will go and there is happiness. So that is the message. The message given by Bhagavan here is, let us learn to accept choiceless situations. This is what we saw yesterday in the last class. Now, few points regarding this I need to clarify because afterwards we had a discussion on that. First of all, let me clarify what acceptance is not. Means acceptance should not be misunderstood as so and so. I will tell you what are those so and so. Acceptance does not mean pessimism. Pessimism means what, Pessimism is a belief that the world is as bad as it can be and finally evil alone will prevail over good. That type of thinking where you are feeling helpless, that is called pessimism. So acceptance is not pessimism. Acceptance does not mean not taking action. So acceptance does not mean absence of action. Many people think acceptance means we should not do anything. If you want to like show the acceptance by this particular gesture, how will you show? Like this. Really, this is not acceptance. Acceptance does not mean absence of this action. Then what is it? Acceptance means absence of reaction. Acceptance does not mean absence of action, but it means absence of reaction. And another thing, acceptance does not mean justifying the wrong deed. That's what somebody was asking me. Suppose somebody, Swamiji, murdered. Mr. A murdered Mr. B. And these relatives of Mr. B, when I say you accept, they should not think that I am telling that what Mr. A did was right. Acceptance does not mean the justification of wrongdoing. Like somebody murdered, oh, you accept it. Accept it means, oh, he did is okay. That is not the meaning of acceptance. So acceptance is not the justification of wrong action. Somebody has done wrong, you say wrong only. So saying wrong is not opposite to acceptance. When you say wrong as wrong, is not opposite to acceptance. Like a maths teacher, when he sees the sum of the sum done by the student, a student has written 4 plus 5 is equal to 10. No, I should accept the child and therefore what? Do right, correct, give the mark. That is not acceptance. If child has done the sum wrong, he should write cross mark only. So, putting a cross mark that it is wrong is not opposite to acceptance. Saying wrong to be wrong is not non-acceptance. You say it is wrong, but you accept the fact that wrong has happened. Alright. And so acceptance doesn't mean justification of wrong thing. And acceptance also does not mean that there is frustration. What to do? We have to accept. But people are like this. Every time it happens with me like this. Anyway, I accept it. That is not really the spirit of acceptance. So resignation to the situation. In English, there is a word resignation. Not our politician resign, not that resignation. Resignation. You have the state of indifference, helplessness. That is called resignation. That resignation is not meant by acceptance. When Bhagavan says acceptance, he doesn't mean that. So acceptance is not all this. Or some people say acceptance is the sign of weakness. That also is a wrong understanding. Acceptance is not a sign of weakness. Acceptance is a sign of lot of emotional strength. Only strong people can have real acceptance. Weak people cannot have. So acceptance is not a sign of weakness. Alright, so what acceptance is not? That I have clarified. So acceptance doesn't mean you don't take any action. Action can be there, but still acceptance can be there. So acceptance is not all of them. Then what is acceptance? Acceptance is acknowledgement of fact as a fact without reaction. What is acceptance? Acceptance is acknowledgement of fact as a fact without reaction. That is called acceptance. Like my child is like this, my parents are like this. At least at this moment, they are like this. I accept that fact without any reaction. In the class, somebody is feeling sleepy. So what is my response to be? Acceptance. What is acceptance? This person is sleeping. That's all. So one person out. So from attention span. So that's it is. That's all. Oh, he has come to the class and he's sleeping and he's demotivating me to talk and all this. They unnecessary thing. This is how it is. Person might have, could not get sleep last night and therefore sleeping. That's all. Good. In fact, to help somebody to get sleep is a punyam in a way. We are getting a lot of punyam. I think because of that we get good bhiksha. So, in fact, one lady told Swami Paramathanandi, Swamiji, I got sleep in your class, which I had not got for so many years. So I think we feel happy about it. At least we are helping, people require sleeping tablets and all, that we give free service. Anyway, so acceptance means acknowledgement of the facts. Somebody is not respecting me. This is a fact. I acknowledge that fact, that this is how it is. He doesn't seem to have respect, at least in my perception. That person may be respecting, but he is not showing the respect the way I think, therefore I may conclude. So I accept that this is how it is. I acknowledge the fact as a fact. Birth of some people, death of some people, loss of some money. So I acknowledge the fact as a fact without any reaction. And what? I focus on what is to be done. So acceptance means acknowledging the fact without reaction and doing what is to be done. Pujya Swamiji has a very nice, his nice quotation is there. I really love that. He says, the first thing about a mature person is the capacity to accept the fact and doing what is to be done. This is what makes you a mature person. Who is a mature person? Who accepts the fact as a fact and does what is to be done. So when acceptance is there, your focus is not on reaction. Your focus is on action. What type of action? The action which is to be done. Now here people may ask this question, Swamiji, what is the difference between action and reaction? Because you said acceptance means not absence of action, but absence of reaction. Now what is the difference between them? In this context, action means what you deliberately do. That is called action. What is reaction? That which happens to you helplessly. That is called reaction. So somebody said something to you, shouted at you, and you hit the person. That is called what? Reaction. Or you shouted back with double volume, double or triple intensity. That is reaction. But you think that person shouted. And think about that. What can be done in this situation? Can I talk to that person now? Or now I am in hurry? And if I spend time to talk to that person, I will miss my bus and I will miss my flight. Is it worthwhile to talk to this person now? No. So I postpone it. Right now, it is not a good time. I will do it at appropriate time. This decision is an action where you have some deliberation about it. Or if you had some time at that time itself, then you go to the person and you can ask the person, can you tell me what bothers you? Or can you tell me how I am becoming a cause for some discomfort in you, instead of saying, why are you shouting? That's not a right way of asking. Why are you shouting? Generally people say, why are you upset with me? You better ask, what? Am I doing something which is making you uncomfortable? Use light words and don't put onus on that person. Because if you put that, now that person become defensive. See, we invoke the defensiveness in other person. He is all the time defensive, but you also have contributed to his or her defensiveness. You see that, and you ask this person, can you tell me? I would like to change. If you ask in this manner, you disarm the person. You make the person more open. Otherwise, most of the time in this situation, what fighting, crying, and all this shouting at each other, and they part with. This is what outcome. But instead of that, you go up to the person, and if you have time, and ask the person. So this is called what? Action. Now you can understand what is the action and reaction difference is this. You deliberate and do what is to be done. That is acceptance. You are going up to the person and asking that, please tell me what is what is my behavior which causes some discomfort. That is an action. But you shout back or hit the person, that is reaction. So acceptance is this: you acknowledge the fact as fact and do what is to be done. One more thing about this acceptance is this: most of the things I have learned from Pujya Swamiji. Pujya Swamiji was really master in acceptance. MA he was. Really, the subtle nuances of acceptance I really learned from him. In Rishikesh, he was to talk about acceptance. I had some resistance to his talk of acceptance. I remember in that room, this satsang, all I had asked about it. The acceptance, we will not progress. That's what people say. If acceptance is there, you will not progress, etc. So really, I have so much I have learned from Pujya Swamiji about acceptance. So he was really master. The subtle nuances of acceptance. Most of the people have got wrong ideas about acceptance. They consider acceptance means they are weak, etc. It's not true. Alright. So this about acceptance. One more important thing is you understand the greatness, the importance of acceptance. In Shastriya language, it's called Anvaya and Vyatireka. Means you see both ways. If acceptance is there in my life, the acceptance which Shastra means, not what I understand. If I follow this acceptance, then what positive things happen in my life? And if I don't follow this acceptance, how it is causing these disturbances, how it is creating problems for me, both you see. We need to see the significance of acceptance, both ways, by co-presence and by co-absence. See, when we have acceptance in our life, you know what happens? Our life is non-reactive, because that is what acceptance is. And thereby your life is more harmonious with the people around, more harmonious with the world in general. You will have less enemies, more friends. And you know one thing, you always get more from your friends than enemy. You always get more from your friends than enemy. Means somebody is your friend, you can get more from the person. You can benefit from that person more. If he is your enemy, you cannot. Therefore, this acceptance creates this harmonious life. You are in harmony with the world. You are harmony with the people around. Otherwise, you are a ninja, fighter, all the time fighting. You people are afraid of you all the time. and naturally you are also afraid of people. So harmonious life, that is the first benefit. Second is you are relatively calm. When you have acceptance in your life, the healthy acceptance, not that munu munu acceptance. Acceptance also munu munu. So not that. When you have healthy acceptance, you have calmness of the mind. When you have healthy acceptance, you have time and mind available for higher pursuit. Otherwise, your mind is busy reacting, resolving reaction. And after you react, you shout, and afterwards you go and say sorry 2, 3 times, 5 times. You have to buy gift and all this. You have to buy a card, sorry, and all this you have to do. All this you don't have to do. So, more acceptance you have in your life, you have time and mind available. And if acceptance is not there, then what happens? Your time is wasted, mind remains disturbed, not available for higher pursuit. And you remember that it is the same mind you have to use in your study, etc. You cannot say, I have one mind which is for Vyavahara, and then it fights no problem. But it comes to this classroom or my meditation, all things are kept aside. It doesn't happen then. You don't have like two separate minds. Therefore, if you are not having harmonious life with the world, the life of acceptance, then you cannot focus on higher things. And therefore, this acceptance is very important. And never look upon acceptance as a sign of weakness. See it is a sign of maturity. See it as a sign of emotional strength. Alright. Now here, one more issue related to the acceptance is, somebody will say, I think some of you also will say, Swamiji, I have understood acceptance is very good and all this. But Swamiji, I find very difficult to accept. You say acceptance is very good, but I find very difficult to, especially Swamiji, two people only. Everybody will say this. Swamiji, one person only I can't accept. Otherwise, everything okay. So always people say, Swamiji, I find difficult to accept, even though I know I should accept. But I find that I am not able to accept. This must be the case with many people. Even some people now may have resistance to this acceptance talk. Why somebody are talking so much about acceptance? Enough, somebody, you go next shloka. Alright, in fact, those who study with me now, that one, if they study and survive, then one benefit is that they develop a lot of patience. Otherwise, they cannot survive with patience. Slowly, you see, class number, chairs are empty. So that is that happens. Anyway, so what I want to say that people have this, that acceptance, I understand it is very good. I wish also, but somehow, Swamiji, I find very difficult to accept. Especially some people, some situation. Then what to do, Swamiji? How to develop this acceptance, which I find very, very difficult, especially in some situations. First thing I generally tell for every such value, I tell this. That is, first of all, you get very well convinced that I want to have acceptance. Healthy acceptance. I really, really want to have acceptance. Means mentally you should be convinced of the significance of acceptance. And you are very well convinced that you would like to have. In some part of your mind it is there, no, the acceptance is not good. The acceptance करके तो मर गया मैं. So means I tell you in English. So by saying acceptance, I am finished. So if that is your mind frame, acceptance will not come. So first of all, let it take time. But you need to be convince from the bottom of your heart, not only intellectually, emotionally also, you are convinced. I would like to be a person of acceptance, like Pujya Swamiji, like some saints, So, first thing is that. Second thing I generally say is this: it is possible to have acceptance. Some people, Swamiji, I would like to have, but I can't have. Like say, I would like to become a pilot, but Swamiji, at this age, what? I cannot become. Then also it will not come. To have something in your life, you have to accept the sense of possibility of that thing. Means if you accept that it is possible to have, then only you can have. So first that particular, this conviction needs to come. It is possible to have acceptance. At least you say, it is possible to increase my level of acceptance. At least this much. And Vedanta Shastra also doesn't expect you to have 100% acceptance before self-knowledge. So we are talking about relative self-acceptance only, passing marks only. So passing mark first class, that which we are not expecting 100 out of 100. Shastra says that at least you can have this relatively, I would like to be a person of acceptance. I would like to be. And it is possible. And another thing is, one principle is that anything is difficult if you are not prepared. Anything is not difficult if you are prepared. Like running. Running is difficult or easy? You tell me. Running is difficult or easy? The people who are not physically prepared, walking also is a difficult thing. For them, running is difficult. But the people who are fit, for them, running is enjoyable. Some people at the age of 100 also, they participate in marathon. You know that one Sardar they did? So, anything, it is difficult if you are not prepared. Even class. This class will be difficult for me if I am not prepared. If prepared, आराम से बात करो. You enjoy talking. Otherwise, what type of tension? This shloka will be over, this shloka will be over, next shloka I have not prepared. By chance, if I reach that shloka, what will happen? I will run out of material. And I tell you, when you think like this, you will run out only. Really, some of your unconscious mind is going towards that. It happens. I remember that when I went to Bangalore, after Pujya Swamiji asked me to go and conduct classes there. And I had just arrived previous day and 12 o'clock. And next day, that Swamiji who was staying there, I have to take over from him the particular place, these activities. That Swami said, this evening you will give a talk. And I was traveling, and then he came, and I was thinking that I have to prepare material. I did not have time also much to prepare. And I was having that concern that I will run out of the material. I said that this Swamiji, at least he will speak for half an hour, and half an hour he gave me. But that Swami spoke for 5 minutes only. I just by the way, okay. So, and then I really ran out of the material. So I had to tell, see, today I have not, something of that I had to tell, because I was given 50 minutes or 55 minutes, and then 20 minutes everything over. So my first day ऐसे ही चालू हुआ. So that's how I started. But if you are prepared, it is easy. Anything is like this. Cooking, difficult or easy? Same thing. Those who have not learned cooking, and if you are asked them to cook, they will have a lot of tension. From the morning YouTube YouTube videos will be started. And you see 3 videos, they will give 3 versions of how to make these items. So, anyway, anything is like that. If you are prepared, it is easy. Similarly, acceptance is difficult because I have not prepared myself mentally. I have not prepared myself intellectually. How do I do? As I said, see the beauty of acceptance. See the harms caused by non-acceptance. And learn the acceptance with reference to small situations. See, generally people want that Swamiji, when big things happen, also I should stand like a rock and all this. It doesn't happen. You have to prepare for small thing first. Today, salt is not there in vegetable. Okay, accept. Can you take that vegetable without adding extra salt from outside? That is acceptance practice. Practice for small things. In fact, Pujya Swamiji used to tell this. I think I might have told that exercise. He says you tell your children, nowadays children, child. So when I am sitting, you should drop some vessel. Drop some vessel. And you see that how calmly you are able to take. See, you must have seen generally your reaction will be there. In your house, no? If somebody drops vessel, your eyes will be closed, etc. Learn to see that vessel is dropped and I accepted vessel. Old vessel, okay? So otherwise I have new vessel. And your children will be very happy to do this exercise because generally you are shouting at him when he drops the vessel. So now you are telling that you drop. He'll be very happy. Really, you see that. Which is, I remember years ago Swamiji told this. That's why I told you he's MA. So, so you learn with reference to small thing. Somebody did not smile at you. Are you able to accept today he or she was busy? Okay, let me learn to accept. So learn with reference to small things. Starts with small things. Always the journey starts with a small step, one step. Start with small step. And one important thing is pray to Bhagavan. Prayer for acceptance is very useful in developing acceptance. And you know, there is a serenity prayer. There are Alcoholics Anonymous, they have this prayer. Swamiji also used to use that in meditation. What is that prayer? Some different versions are there. Oh Lord, grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change. Give me the will and efforts to change what I can. And give me the wisdom to know the difference. But Swami, I am not alcoholic. You don't have to be alcoholic to do this prayer. So, but this prayer is very beautiful prayer. Every day you pray, putting your heart in the prayer. And then slowly acceptance will be developed. And I tell you, if more you have got acceptance, more you feel a mature person and more you will grow in your even spiritual pursuit as well. Therefore, it is a wonderful teaching given by the Lord. Apariharye arthe na shochitum arhasi. Learn to accept choiceless situation. We are using the word choiceless. Means if choice is there, do something what is to be done. But if it is choiceless, learn to accept as it is now. And even if you want to change the situation, change it. But till the desired result of your effort to change comes, learn to accept that. You know, you want to change, suppose your wiring in the house, change. Because every now and then it gives you realization, self-realization, shocks, you know. So you want to change it. But in India, it is very difficult to get plumber and electrician. So you have decided to change, you have put a request, but till it happens, what should be your response? Acceptance. And that acceptance makes me mature, and this relative acceptance. One thing I would like to clarify that by this attitude, etc., your acceptance will not be 100%. Your acceptance will increase is a very large extent. Now you are at 20%, from that you will go to 60, 70%. And another thing related to this is suppose you reacted, means in some situation you did not have acceptance. Now, don't we, if you are mature, we will not react to our reaction. We will not reject our non-acceptance. Means you develop acceptance to your non-acceptance as well. Means I am a human being, I am sincere in developing acceptance, but I am not perfect. I am still on the job. Means on the job means the mistake will happen. And therefore, we learn to accept our non-acceptance. It is possible. Be kind to yourself. Which is Swamiji's expression, be kind to yourself. Some people are very harsh on themselves. And when they become harsh on themselves, chances are that they will become harsh on others also. You will see that. So when you are very harsh about your being on time, I should be on time. It's a very good quality. But you are so harsh on yourself, so chances are that you will be harsh on others when others are not on time. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That is what acceptance is. Okay. Now, in the next shloka, in the 28th shloka, Bhagavan is talking about from the standpoint of Anatma. In the first two shlokas, he talked about Atma being born again and dying again. Then also there is no scope for sorrow. And now he says, from the standpoint of body, mind, sense complex also, there is no basis for sorrow. Avyaktadini bhutani Vyaktamadhyani bharata Avyakta nidhananyeva Tatra ka paridevana. Bhutani. Bhutani here refers to these living beings, body, mind, sense complex, especially bodies. All these bodies, whether your own body or your relative's body, anybody's body, was avyakta, unmanifest. Before birth, it was unmanifest. And what is birth? Birth is nothing but unmanifest becoming manifest. There is no completely new origination, completely afresh origination is not there. What was there in unmanifest state becomes manifest. In this atta, in the flour, in the flour, was there roti or not? Before you made roti, roti, all of you know, roti chapati, sapati. So the sapati, they call here sapati here. So sapati, was it there in the flour, atta? Was there or not?
Yes.
Unmanifest. Unmanifest. Otherwise, people will say it was there, then why should we make cook? It was there, atta, wipe, lunchtime atta. So, it was there, but unmanifest. So, what is birth? Birth means unmanifest becoming manifest. So let us take about roti. Roti was unmanifest before birth. Avyaktadini. Avyaktadini means in the beginning or before its birth, it was unmanifest. And Vyakta Madhyani, in between they are manifest. Let us take about roti only first, then we will talk about the body. Roti in between what? Vyakta, manifest, available for you to see. Then Avyakta Nidhanani, after you ate them, what happened? Avyakta again became unmanifest. Avyakta Nidhanani means unmanifest at the end. So unmanifest it was, became manifest, and again unmanifest. So birth is what? Unmanifest becoming manifest. What is death? Manifest becoming unmanifest. So this body is what? Before this body was born, it was unmanifest. Now it is what? Manifest. And what is death? This manifest body again becoming unmanifest. So unmanifest it was, in between manifest, and again unmanifest. It is something like there is a what is called dark area around, and in between there is a screen with some light. Now you see some arrow. So arrow is coming from darkness, in between is lit up in the lighted area, and again it goes to darkness. From darkness it comes, in between lighted up, and again it is in darkness. Similarly, this body also is like this. It was like in darkness, it was unmanifest, in between manifest, again it becomes unmanifest. And again that unmanifest will become what? Manifest. So he says, this is the truth about all the bodies. Whether it is my body or my dear one's body or my enemy's body, all the bodies were unmanifest before birth, in between manifest, and again it will become unmanifest. That is the truth about all the Bhutas, all the living beings, all the bodies. And once I have understood this, that there is no total destruction of anything, or there is no complete new origination of anything, tatra, in that regard, or that being so, ka paridevana, what is there to grieve? Ka paridevana means what grieving? Means what for grieving? Grief comes because we are ignorant of the fact, or we are not able to accept the fact. In ignorance, there are chances of mistakes, and that mistakes cause some grief. Or sometimes we know the fact, but because of our obsession with certain situation, we are not able to accept the fact as a fact. Therefore, there is sorrow. Sorrow is a sign of resistance to the fact. When there is no resistance, there is no sorrow. You just see in your life, whenever you were sad, you had some resistance to some fact. Anytime, there is no exception in that. You were sad at any moment when you were having resistance to some fact. Why he said like this to me? Why I lost the job, or why I lost the relationship? Why I lost this particular house, or why I lost this opportunity? Always resistance. When there is a resistance and insistence, there is sorrow. In acceptance, there is relaxation. There is happiness. There is calmness. So Bhagavan says, Tatra ka paridevana. What is the basis for grieving, Arjuna? Grief comes because of ignorance of the fact and non-acceptance of the fact. If you understand the fact and accept the fact as fact, there is no grieving. So with this, one more set of arguments by Bhagavan Sri Krishna is completed, where he showed in one more way that Arjuna, there is no basis for sorrow. If you think properly, then there is no sorrow. Pujya Swamiji used to say two types of problem, either non-thinking or wrong thinking. You don't think and therefore you are in ignorance and therefore problems, or you wrongly think. So non-thinking and wrong thinking, especially more than non-thinking, wrong thinking creates problem. And if you correct your wrong thinking by right understanding, then there is no sorrow. Now in the next shloka, Bhagavan will talk about the glory of self-knowledge. And Bhashyakara says, Bhagavan Sri Krishna must have found Arjuna to have some difficulty in understanding this Atma-jnana. And therefore Bhagavan says, Arjuna, it is understandable that you don't understand. Your not understanding the Atma is understandable. Because it is very rare. This self-knowledge is very rare. It is a wonderful thing if it happens. If people don't understand, it is very much understandable. If they understand, it is wonderful. That's a one. This is nice. Then only teacher can have sanity. Otherwise, teacher will feel I am explaining so well, still people don't understand. In fact, my approach is that if they don't understand, it is understandable. If they understand, wow, they understood. So you enjoy their understanding. If they don't understand, it is just understandable. So Bhagavan is going to say, Arjuna, I understand that you are finding difficult because this self-knowledge, talking about the self, is a very rare thing to happen. It's like a wonderful thing which happens very rarely. That idea we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo